What's going on, Colts Nation? Are you there? That's my big question because I'm showing live, but I don't know. Yes, we are. Thanks so much. Hey, guess what? So Carson Wentz, now the Indianapolis Colts, quarterback, got a lot of stuff that he's working on, right? Well, my cat is yelling. Quit. Okay. I'm sorry, guys. This is the thing with going live because there's just distractions sometimes. No, Carson Wentz working on himself. And we already know about, hanging out with the rookies during OTAs or right after the OTAs and stuff. But he's got a lot more stuff that he's working on as well. So we're going to get to that right after this.
All right. So I guess now you understand what the plan was.
Absolutely. At Colts Law, we talk Indianapolis Colts football.
We're going to stick to what we know, fundamentals and technique, 1% better every day.
Hey, welcome back. And hey, before we get started, I just wanted to let Loyalist here, who's my co-host, share a little special announcement.
Thank you very much. I just, I told you guys that I'm a father of two, and today's a big day for us around here because my youngest, Ace, has got a big 12th birthday coming up. So I just wanted to wish him a happy birthday. I knew he'd be watching us tonight. Ace, have a good day, bub, and happy birthday.
Happy 12th, Ace. Appreciate you. If you're watching, great. Thank you. Don't forget, guys, please, don't forget to smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you're not subscribed. And tag that notification bell. That way you're notified next time I go live. Swaggy jumps in right off the bat with, will the Colts win the division? We may end up talking about that a little bit later. But first, I want to discuss some news. Some news about Carson Wentz. Stuff I didn't know about. Albert Breer. That's right. Albert Breer from Sports Illustrated wrote a big old article about Carson Wentz and some of the things that he has planned coming up. And I'm going to read a little bit off of this, and we're going to take pauses in between to discuss what this article is about. But first, he starts off, Carson Wentz is still in Indianapolis 2 weeks after the Colts veterans broke for the summer, which, of course, was, part of the agreement that the team's players and leadership came with the coaches to abbreviate the offseason program. No one suggested that Carson stay. For Wentz, and where he is right now as a player, he saw it as the right thing to do, so he just did it. Now, to me, that speaks volumes, right? All we heard during the offseason, before and after the trade, was the fact that Carson Wentz wasn't a team player. He was all about himself. He doesn't worry about coaches and players and fans and things like this. Is national media and Philadelphia media sprouting this out. Now, for him to stay behind on his own, not only to work with on his own stuff, but to work with the rookies and the players and stuff, that's huge, right? I mean, I believe that speaks volumes to the opposite of what a lot of media is talking about. What are your thoughts about him staying behind, even though, he really didn't have to, and opposed to what media says, it's complete contrary to what they've been saying. Loyalist?
I think it's awesome. Like you said, a lot of these guys, they get these opportunities and they're like, okay. I mean, first off, they've got all this money. It's not like they're stifled by, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. They have the freedom and the ability to do a lot of things that most of us don't. But he still chose to put the team first, to put himself first. You know what I mean? In the way of developing and connecting and knowing what's going to help us in the long term. Like I said, this to me is such a huge win from the Colts fans' perspective because, I mean, how many times do you hear these guys, and how hard it is to get together and everybody's got their own lives and schedules and they don't want to sacrifice this precious free time that they have because, I mean, as we know, covering the Colts, football's becoming a 12-month a year, grind and stuff. So to sit there and sacrifice some of that family time with his young new family and stuff, I just think it's amazing. You?
Oh yeah, I believe that you bring up a big point actually about he's taking time out of family time, right, in order to kind of gain that trust and respect from the team, not just working on himself, but gaining that trust with the team, the rookies, the young players, the wide receivers, the linemen. That's a huge deal, right? That's something that whereas other players like say some of the defensive guys are probably not out there doing quite as much. Now I did see earlier about DeForest Buckner, going out and doing a youth camp and things of that nature. You see that with Colts players all the time. It is really, really nice to see Carson Wentz out there just working on himself and working with the other players. And as we continue, it says that means that during the week of Memorial Day, taking part in what Coach Frank Reich had set up as a tack-on rookies only week of OTAs. And a few of the receivers, not just the rookies, but the other receivers stuck around for that as well. Last week, he threw some more in Indy to those guys. And this coming week, his throwing coach, Adam Dato, is coming into town, into Indy, for some individualized technique tune-up work. Now, I want to talk about Adam Dato. He is actually not just his personal quarterbacks trainer. He trains a ton of National Football League quarterbacks. If you go to his Twitter page, you'll actually find that there's 3 quarterback trainers that work with all kind of NFL coaches or NFL quarterbacks like Wilson, who just got drafted, right? Like Dak Prescott, a bunch of different guys out there. He's working on him to tune up, his technical issues, which have come to light as of late, where, his form and technique has kind of, been less stringent over the past couple seasons of him being in the NFL. What are your thoughts, Loyalist?
I love the fact, we always talk about, like you were talking about the rookies and him staying over for the week, and we always hear about the rookies saying the first year is trying to figure out how to be a pro. Look at the message. Look at the actual, seeing it at work every day. This guy doesn't have to be here. This guy's still willing to, just the message. And I think the add to that culture that it's building. I love that aspect. And then the fact to hear that, he's like, okay, this is what I'm going to do here. It's not like he's doing just one thing to try to get himself back on track. He realizes, I think, that he's come to a good situation. This is going to help nurture or cultivate that environment that he needed to get back on track. And I like the fact that he's not just sitting there and sitting on his laurels going, okay, I got my coach, I got this team, and that's all it is. He's like, no, I realize I've got to put the grind in. I realized there was things that, I was accountable for in some of that deterioration, and he's acknowledging it, and he's going out and he's finding people to help him solve these problems before he even really gets on the field with this team.
Yeah, the fact that he's doing a bunch of this stuff before training camp during the off time, right, that the Colts have, just trying to work on himself and work with others. Speaking of that, in July, Wentz already has scheduled to host a bunch of offensive skill players at his off-season home near Houston for a few days of throwing and top golf and just hanging out. That's huge, all right? He's obviously bringing these offensive skill players with him before training camp even comes, just to hang out, get to know the guys, understand what they're like, let them understand him a little bit, kind of gain that camaraderie, do some throwing, That's massive. That's stuff that you just don't see every day from every quarterback. Now, some quarterbacks, yes, they will do stuff like this, but not every quarterback does it. And you especially wouldn't expect to hear that Carson Wentz would be doing this from all of the reports about, coming out of Philadelphia saying, that he's kind of a loner, that he's above everybody else. That's what I hear coming out of Philadelphia's media. Not some guy that's all about, bringing everybody in and working with them at his own personal house.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know if you remember, like when the Colts sat down with the players and they came up with this schedule. The biggest thing they kept saying about this is why they chose the 2-week stretch. They realized that they weren't going to get a lot of, physical, but they were getting that camaraderie. They were building this, getting to know each other and building this family environment, building this thing so whenever they're out there in the battle during the regular season and stuff, they're going to be able to know what type of person they got on their right or on their left. Now, this just seems to be doubling down, putting more chips in the pot, you might say, as far as to that. He's not – they're not just sitting there going, okay, this is what the teams had set up for us. He said, I like this. I like what we started in those 2 weeks. Let's continue this. You know what I mean? And then, like he said, it's not all going to be football. These guys are going to be out there, doing the fun stuff and the competitive stuff where you actually get to see that true – because I don't know about you guys, but – anytime I get competing in something, it's like this whole blinder thing goes on because I just want to win. And I have to imagine that these elite athletes, they all look at it the same way. I don't care if it's, putt-putt, golf, if it's bowling. I mean, we've seen in the Eagles, if it's Rochambeau, whatever. I just think it's really awesome that he's created this environment where everybody can actually get to meet each other, the real who they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, talking about the competitive thing, we saw, what was it, last week, where Wentz was part of the Colts. They kind of have like a basketball shooting tournament, right? And Wentz ended up in the finals against Mo Alley Cox, where he lost. But you kind of expect that since Mo Alley Cox was a 3-year college basketball player, which is where he came from. But Wentz is out there, hanging with the guys, doing stuff like that. That's just awesome. Continuing with this article, it says, we had good connection there for where we can go work out and have some fun, Wentz said over the phone with Breer on his way to a workout Thursday. It's kind of a central place where it's going to be plenty hot, so guys can get acclimated for camp. No one needs to tell Wentz what he's got on the line in 2021. Now, in my opinion, I don't think anyone really has any kind of issues with that. I mean, we know that Wentz knows what's going on, even though he's going to say, I don't read the media or check social media or know what's being said. That's a bunch of BS, in my opinion, because let's go back to where we saw with when he joined Pat McAfee show, right? He walked on the Pat McAfee show. He knew what Pat McAfee had said about him. He called him out for it, So he does pay attention. He, contrary to what he's saying, he does pay attention, which means, even though I don't think it really affects what he's going to do, he knows the public perception of it. And this right here, it's just helping his public perception. Did I lose? Okay, no, you didn't. No, I hear you. Okay. Sorry, guys. Give me a moment. Had a cough there for some stupid reason. So I'm going to continue on with this article. In so many ways, Carson's been granted a second NFL life after the Eagles traded him to a place that's about a perfect fit for him. From the coaching staff to the infrastructure. Hey, thank you, Bobby Gammon, for the subscription. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Infrastructure of the roster around him to the region of the country that he's moving back to. Yes, back to. And he's not taking this new lease lightly. But in another way, he has done and will be doing through the months of June and July is probably what he'd be doing anyway if this wasn't, one of those COVID situations. If you need affirmation of that, Colts coach Frank Reich, Wentz's coordinator in Philly during his first 2 years in the NFL, will give that to you. In regard, the Wentz he's seeing now is the Wentz he's always known. Reich says, anybody who's been around Carson knows there are many things you cannot question, and certainly work ethic is one of them. Like a lot of our players, I'm not saying he works any harder than them, but he does work really, really hard. Very detailed at his work, very committed, very determined. Some of it's not uncommon, but it's just the way he goes about it, and I think that's very good. And in other words, Wentz in and of himself, Wentz is just being himself during this offseason, during this COVID situation like last year, just being himself. And he and the Colts know this time of year with, now this is in Breer's words, with no losses incurred, sacks taken, or interceptions thrown, it's easy for him to be this person. The idea, of course, is for Wentz to be himself again as he and Reich sees him. And when it's not so easy. Now, in my opinion, hearing that, saying that, Wentz is just going about things that, the way he needs to. Now, yes, is he taking extra steps, working on his technique and shoring up some stuff? Absolutely. He's probably seen it himself going over the tape. I don't think there's a problem there. It's what any quarterback would do if he starts to see, hey, you know what? My feet ain't on the right spot when I'm releasing the football, or, things of that nature. So I don't see an issue here. The fact that he's out here busting his butt, working with other players, bringing him to his house, trying to do everything that he possibly can to make sure that his time in Indianapolis will be remembered fondly, is just another day, really, for Carson Wentz, because any professional player in the NFL would do the exact same thing.
Yeah, and the thing is I know we're highlighting Carson here, but it's the whole team. The whole team. You're talking about receivers like T.Y. Hilton, and Jack Doyle. These guys have been in the league for long enough that they don't, they don't always want to be excited about having to fly down to Texas or whatever. But up to this far, I haven't heard of anybody complaining about it. You hear the younger receivers actually seeking out Carson, or when Carson first came here, you've seen a lot of these guys, they could have just tweeted or, hey, how's it going? Glad to have you on the team. But it didn't stop there. These guys are all in 100% for the team. Like I said, Ty and Jack and just, I can understand the young guys, but now when you get these veterans that are showing the same leadership, the same, quality of, hey, we want this, last couple of years hasn't been where we want to be. We know that we need to do more. And the fact that they're doing this and it's just, it just says so much about the way Reich has coached and handled this situation. It's not, he didn't bring Carson in and said, okay, guys, let's put kid gloves on him. He didn't. He just said, hey, come in, be yourself. You don't have to win every game with 450 yards passing, just come in and run the offense and see where you fit and let everything. Well, how do you find out where you fit? You get people together and you find out what personalities are what and who's got the understanding and where the timing is and stuff. I just love the fact that, like I said, these are things that you don't ever really hear a lot about. And then the fact that the whole team is buying into it, not just Carson, I think is amazing.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to take this time to basically promote myself a little bit. Guys, like Ram said here in the chat, please smash that like button. Really, really appreciate it. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Tag that notification bell. Make sure all notifications are turned on. Also, in the description of this video, Hey, I moved it right to the top where it says you can see it right there, right? Any kind of super chat you wish to do, please use that link in the description instead of using the YouTube super chat. It'll still appear on the screen. It's just I will get 96% of that rather than only 45% of that. And also, there's Patreon, right? Right down there in the link to that. Patreon is awesome. It's only $5 a month. You get all of mine or Loyalist's content, no matter where it's at. I got a new one up that I just posted 2 days ago, kind of just giving a little bit of history about myself and how I got into it and how I got to where I am today. And then, of course, once I hit 15 patrons, here's a list of my patrons currently. Once I hit 15, I will be doing live streams with my Patreon supporters, which they will have a link that they could join and sit and chat with myself or Loyalist. Just whatever you want. Whether we're talking about football or if we're discussing your favorite pizza place. I don't care, because it'll be about you and what you want to talk about. And then, of course, there is a link to my merch shop. Make sure to check out the Colts Law merch shop. The link is in the description of this video. There are a ton of high quality, reasonably priced items there that you can choose from. And all you got to do is just click one button and you can go and check out all these great merchandise items. Speaking of which, I want to give a shout out first off to Harrison Woods from UK Colts Fans. He just received his hoodie that he won from me a couple months ago. For some reason, it got stuck overseas in Turkey for a while, but he just emailed me and let me know that he got it and he loves it. Dude, that hat looks good on you, man. That hat looks good on you. I love the white. I haven't actually looked at the white ones. That looks slick. Might actually have to go out and purchase myself one, man. Yeah, and that's, you're offside. There we go. And you see on the back of it, it says, have a good one. So that's awesome. Again, great merchandise. And Father's Day is coming up, so that'd make a great Father's Day present to if you got a father that's coming up or yourself, you want to buy yourself something for Father's Day. That's good as well. All right. So, hey, I gotta shout myself out and try to sell some stuff. You know what I mean? I mean, come on, guys. This is my full-time job, everybody. All right, so we're going to get into the chat in just a moment. Got 30 of you in here. You are awesome. Don't forget, you could also go over there right underneath Loyalist. There's a share button where you could click that, copy and paste a link to your favorite social media or whatnot. Whether it be social media, whether it be Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. You got a Colts forums or something, that'd be awesome as well. Everything you do to support me is very much appreciated. And if you can't do anything, hey, like I said, hit that like button. Man, that helps out a ton because the more likes, it helps with the analytics, gets this video out to more people. So I'm going to jump into the chat right now as we get up here. Swaggy, first question, will the Colts win the division? I believe so, personally. I still got to see how Wentz works with this offense, and I got to see the pass rush, obviously. But I believe they win the division. I think it'll be a close, tight fight between the Colts and the Titans, but I still believe in the Indianapolis Colts. Your thoughts on that question, Loyalist?
Oh, I 100% agree. I'm not so sure that it's going to be as close as you do. I think that we actually get it by a couple games. But like you said, I do feel like that the Colts are in a position to develop a few spots this year. And if like I said, 30 or 40% of them develop the way you would originally progress, I think that it is giving us a decent foot ahead of the Titans.
Gary Thompson says, happy birthday, Ace. That's cool. That's cool. Swaggy back in says, Wentz really seems motivated. He's a difference maker. Absolutely. I mean, you can't put everything that happened last year on Carson Wentz. We all know that. He's kicked butt since then, or before then, and I assume that he'll do so again this year with the Colts. I really think he could throw for 3,000 plus yards this season and has the tools to be good, Ant Rodgers says. Shout out to Ant Rodgers, my first Patreon supporter. I believe that as well. Martin Hazel, what's up with the super chat? Thank you so much. I hate the first game of the season for every team. I predict Carson will be shaky in his first half of the Seattle games. We make adjustments and win. I honestly think that'll be his biggest game of the year, most likely, is against Seattle personally. But I do appreciate the super chat. Me, myself, and I, like I said, I've got a stream talking about it already. Wentz is going to have a full offseason. Now, someone's told me that, that the Seahawks have been his, shall we say, his kryptonite, that he's never really played well against Seattle. Well, this is the Indianapolis Colts. The Indianapolis Colts have always played well against Seattle, right? And he's on a completely different team with different players, different defense, different everything. I really do believe that Carson will open up big time against the Seattle Seahawks in the 2021 season opener for the Colts. What are your thoughts, Loyalist?
Yeah, and even if, say Carson does come out shaky. We've already said it repeatedly. Carson comes out shaky, you've still got a running game to fall back on. You still have the short passing game to fall back on. These are things that I don't think, even when you are a little shaky or uncomfortable with something, these are things that help you find your rhythm. And once you start finding that rhythm, just as an athlete, you start getting rolled up in this snowball of momentum. And like I said, I really do feel like the Seattle game is going to be the one that he sits there and realizes everything coming to fact, from what they've done through the whole offseason and stuff.
Yeah. Again, Martin, thank you so much for the super chat. But just a shout out to everybody, please, if you can, try to use the link that's right here in the description. It's very simple. It'll send you right to my personal page on Streamlabs, where you could drop the exact same thing. You could do a donation. You could type in a message, just like Martin Hazel did right there, and it'll still show up right over there beside Loyalist on the screen that you're seeing. Wentz is finally home, ready to ball out with his teammates. Can't wait for week 1. Go Colts. That's Nano505. I agree. Gary says he threw for 4,000 yards on a bad team in 11 games. Think about that. Or 12. It was 11. Welcome to Carson City. Nomadic Brian says. Shout out Nomadic Brian. He is an awesome guy. Been here since the beginning. Miss Kitty says hello. Hello. My cat. I remember. Yeah, she's crazy. She's also in heat. I got 4 males. They're all fixed. I didn't fix her. So when she goes into heat, no one can help her. But I don't need 50,000 kittens throughout my house. So, had to get some cats fixed. Charger, what's up? Appreciate you being here. I feel like Wentz will be one of the best moves Chris Ballard has made. Well, first off, Charger, thank you for joining the stream. If you're not subscribed yet, please don't forget to subscribe. But I really appreciate you here in the live chat making your opinion known. If he does, that'll be huge, because think about DeForest Buckner is a big move that he's already made. Drafting Quentin Nelson, drafting Darius Leonard, some of the drafts that he's done have been huge moves by Chris Ballard. Saying Carson Wentz will be among those would mean that Carson Wentz will blow up, because he's had plenty of guys who already have. So for him to be one of the best moves he's made means that he will. I absolutely agree. I would love to see that happen.
I think something else that is really important here is, we've mentioned it a couple times. Carson's coming back into a living environment for him and his family that he's comfortable with. He's getting closer to his wife's family. They're from Kentucky. I don't know. To me, it seems like once you get your personal life in order, your professional life always is going to take that step forward. You know what I mean? It just seems like this move just works in so many ways for both the Colts and Carson that, it's easy to sit there and say, this is the perfect fit. But like I said, it just fits in so many ways. I love it.
Yeah. Ant Rodgers says he is anticipating a heavy running attack this year. Now, over an overall year, I expect it to be kind of a balanced attack. Now, I do foresee certain games that will be very run heavy, right? I do foresee that. But I also see some games where it'll either be balanced attack or you'll see like a heavy passing attack. And I honestly believe, and I've said this multiple times, that heavy passing attack will probably be week 1 against a very pass deficient defense in Seattle. But yeah, I don't think that the Colts will be wanting for rushing yards this year. I do believe that as a team they will have probably somewhere around 2,200 yards or more on the ground. How much rushing do you think that the Colts will have this year, Loyalist?
Well, I'm more in the greens. I like the idea of them running the ball a lot. I haven't put a number on it to say, but something I've been thinking about a little bit with that is I don't know, but how is Carson's screen game? What is his short pass game like? Because, look at the dynamic. Our running backs come in, you got Nyheim Hines, you got Jonathan Taylor, who's sort of eliminated that, I can't catch stigma that they had coming into the league. And then you turn around and you sit there and you look at these receivers, these big, tall, physical receivers who can run these slant routes and stuff. I'm starting to get more and more on board with get the ball out fast on these plays. The RPO, which, like you said, you don't know if it's going to be a run or a pass. But I do think that, our running backs are too good, too young, too dynamic. They're not just hand them the ball and let them grind out 5 to 6 yards. These guys, Nyheim Hines, Marlon Mack, Jonathan Taylor, you can get the ball in their hands out of the backfield, out in the flat, and they can make plays. Mm-hmm. Their explosiveness and stuff. I guess I'm leaning more towards, I think Carson early on is going to hit a lot of these shorter routes to get that timing, do the handoffs and stuff. But I do see what you're saying as far as getting these crossing routes and stuff with these guys and getting the yards after the catch too.
I want to shout out Buck Dancer and LA Rams. Thanks for joining. Ant Rodgers brings up another thing that has a lot to do with what you just talked about. RPO is going to be new and interesting. And it's not something that the Colts are used to seeing, right? We're not, and I fully expect a lot of RPO type stuff this year, along with play action. Now, we're used to play action, especially when we had Andrew Luck, and even Jacoby Brissett, we saw a lot of play action. But RPO is all new, and because of the coaches and the team that we actually have, I believe the RPO could be a huge part of this offense this year.
Shout out to UK Colts. I was watching his show today, and something came to me, and I was like, they got to talking about the 4th and short plays and stuff. Can you imagine now? Okay, everybody knows Reich loves to, on 4th and 2, 4th and 3. That is not nope, we're punting the ball anymore. Now, can you imagine with Carson's mobility and stuff, how hard is it to stop the Colts on 4th and short when he can pitch the ball out? He can hand the, just the way his mobility opens up our offense, it just seems like Reich's going to be able to sit there and really come up with a great 4th down package or 3rd and short package, to really help us keep them chains moving.
If you run a 2 tight end, 2 running back, 1 wide receiver package on 4th and goal at 1 yard line or something like that, could you imagine? You could have Taylor with the ball up the middle, or he could decide to pitch it right in front of him as a tight end is sweeping in front of him, or Marlon Mack or Nyheim Hines is running a sweep to the outside opposite of where the tight end is running. That's a triple option right there on its own. Or Carson can decide to keep it, run the football, and throw it out to a wide receiver or a tight end or someone after, routes are ran. That's the kind of stuff that's opened up now because of the simple fact that we have Carson on the team instead of Phillip Rivers. Now, no disrespect to Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers was an incredible guy, incredible human being, nicest guy you could ever talk to, whether he's a player or just a person, and incredibly accurate. But He just didn't have the mobility or the cannon to make some of these kind of plays that Carson Wentz now brings to the table.
And not only that, now you got to think about the defense, okay? Now they take that extra half second or that extra second to sit there and just process, because now they do have to worry about the quarterback who can run the ball. You know what I mean? So I think that in its own right, just that extra beat, how many times you see these guys, it's like they plant that foot and then they cut and all of a sudden they've got inside shoulder and that's all they need. You know what I mean? So these guys might be looking and trying to pick up a key or something, and the next thing you know, Colts are dropping a little quick slant right in front of them. I want to see it.
So I'm thinking about dropping a Braden Smith film room. Guys, in the live chat, let me know if that's something that you would be interested in. All right, I'm thinking about dropping one this week. If I get at least 10 of you in the live chat letting me know that you want that, I will drop it this week. Otherwise, I'll look somewhere else. But that's my option for everybody. I got 30, almost 40 people watching right now. Wow. So if 10 of you let me know if you want Braden Smith film room or no Braden Smith film room. Going back to a live chat, Thornburg, Joe, what's up, man? Appreciate you being here. Media will say anything for clickbait. Another one they have botched is the situation with Aaron Rodgers. I'm not going to disagree. Media will twist anything into something that'll get them attention, get views, because it's all about the money, right? They don't care about digging down and finding out the truth of stuff. It's about them getting clicks. And if they can get out clickbait, whether it's true or not, or maybe it is a slight true, but they stretch it out to make it, much worse than what it actually is, they're going to do that. And I think that's something I can't be 100% sure on this. I'm going by what Carson Wentz and other people have said, but it seems to me, it feels like the national media and the Philadelphia local media, that's exactly what they were doing with Wentz. And it could be, I believe, what they're doing with the Aaron Rodgers thing as well, Joe. What are your thoughts, Loyalist?
Well, with the whole Aaron Rodgers thing, I told you before, I like McAfee. I like the way he's covered it. I like the way he's given Aaron a platform to speak on. So I tend to lean towards the Aaron Rodgers side. I do feel like that there is a contest, and now I feel like that, they're actually trying. I feel like they're trying to win it in the court of public opinion now, instead of sitting at the table and figuring out, what, we need to figure out how to make this problem be solved. It seems like they're trying to find a way to associate blame. So it almost sounds like Aaron's, I hate to say it, but it sounds like he's on his way out.
Yeah, it's possible. I might have a stream on where he might be going if he decides to leave. I don't know if I've decided to do that yet or not. But if it gets more and more to the point where it sounds like that Green Bay will be trading him 100% chance, I'll probably do a stream like that. Maybe do a little bit of research. I already got a few ideas on which teams would be great for him to go to, but I don't want to jump the gun quite yet. Wyatt Law, what's going on, my guy? Appreciate you. Carson himself said that there is something special in the building with this team. He's making himself a huge part of it, and that will pay dividends. But before I get to that, Brian Walton, you are the man. Brian Walton just donated $20, says, thanks for the hard work and keeping us informed. Sorry, I had to kind of look around my camera there to see exactly what he said. But Brian, thank you so much for the donation. I really appreciate it. That will really help a lot towards my roof fund as I get closer and closer to the workers showing up the middle of next month. So thank you so much. Now, some of this money that I am putting towards will also be going towards my film rooms because it costs money to get the film that I run, right? The All 22 Coaches film costs me $120 a year. And then I've got software that costs money in order for me to do, like, my streaming software right here that I'm using right now. It costs to have one merch shop, right? It costs money to do a bunch of stuff. I added it all up. I pay over $1,000 a year just to do these types of live streams, with StreamYard and all that other stuff, that I have. So yeah, it's a chunk of money. So all your guys' donations not only helps out just in general, just to keep me going. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. So thanks again, Brian Walton. Now back to Wyatt Law, where he said that there was something special in the building with this team and that he's making a huge part of it and that will pay dividends. I absolutely agree. Every player that comes in to the locker room says, man, there's something really special here. This is a really, really good locker room. Guys believe in each other. They hold each other accountable. The coaches work well with each other. It's just a really good atmosphere for a player to be in. And for Carson Wentz to go from a Philadelphia atmosphere where the fans didn't even want him there after they won the Super Bowl because they were like, woohoo, let's have a Nick Foles statue. Let's keep Nick Foles and sign him for long term, right? And then Carson Wentz, well, if I was Carson, I'd be like, I don't want to be here either. They don't want me. Why am I still here, right? Now, that's not all the fans. No, there was a lot of fans out there that was like, Carson's our guy, right? That's. I'm just saying, you got guys in certain cities that will turn on you in a heartbeat, right? If you have one bad game, or if another guy shows to show up a little bit of stuff, then and when it comes to a quarterback wants to be wanted, right? He don't want to be somewhere where he feels like he's not wanted. And I think that Carson really gave it his all, considering the situation he had last year in Philadelphia. Now, it ended after week 11 because of injury, or got pulled, right? And replaced. It was kind of the final straw, I think, where he's like, you know what? Now my own coaches and stuff don't want me here. Let's move on. Well, guess what? Fans here want you. The coaches, the team, the owner, they want you. The GM, wants you here. So I really expect with Carson in this new locker room and in the atmosphere that he is seeing as a fresh new person, it's maybe one of those reasons why he's putting so much effort into this offseason to make this transition as smooth and as good as possible.
Yeah. And the thing is you sit there and you hear these things, and as a fan, you're like, yeah, that's great. Awesome. But then you also realize, okay, this is coming from the teammates and stuff. But then whenever you hear stories, I don't know if you remember, like when we signed Isaac Rochelle, he sat there and he said that he had talked to some people like Farley, who used to be with the Colts, and a few other people that were no longer even associated with the Colts. But everything that he'd heard was about how strong the organization was and how they were building something special. When you hear that, when you start hearing it from players that aren't even part of the team anymore, that's when you realize, you know what, this is real. There is something tangible there that it will draw players to. I mean, they're not coming to Indiana for the bright lights and the nightlife. You know what I mean? They're not coming here for the prime time games, as you can remember with last year. So, I mean, there's got to be something that draws them here. And it's the fact that the Colts are a team or an organization that they're building a winning culture and that they're doing it the right way. That, like I said, these players will want to be a part of it.
Yeah. Cyborg jumps into this chat. Thank you so much for joining. Guys, please don't forget, smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, tag that notification bell so that you're notified next time I go live. Make sure all notifications are turned on because YouTube's weird that way. All right, Cyborg says, just got to wait until he is in a real game against a real pass rush. He's doing everything correct right now, but we all hope he doesn't revert to last year's tendencies. Now, that is a big deal. Now, generally, I'm going to kind of break this down a little bit. When you're in the pocket, generally you can get back to, what you work on, right? Your footwork and things of that nature and your release. Now, he's got a weird release. He's got a chicken wing release. It's kind of very similar to Phillip Rivers and how he throws the football, believe it or not. Not quite to that point, but very similar with the chicken wing up, and his elbows out rather than down on his side. But his footwork is big. Where he's planting, where he's shifting his weight, as opposed to when he releases the football. That is a big deal. Now, when you're in the pocket, you're not under pressure. As Cyborg states, it's very easy to stay in sync and remember those things. But once that pressure comes in and you have to go on the move, that's when things kind of revert to backyard football. You're not always thinking about where your plant foot is and where you're just trying to get rid of that football, right? So I get what you're saying, Cyborg, and that could be a legitimate concern, but we'll have to wait and see. Some of those times, you've seen a million plays over the last few years with Carson Wentz when he's on the move. His release looks uglier than heck when he releases it, but somehow, some way, he ends up, a lot of times you're seeing him find guys way downfield open, hitting them dead on. So you don't want to change too much of that aspect, because that's what sets him apart from your average game managing quarterback. Loyalist?
Yeah, I would say one of my biggest concerns for this year coming up is how he is in the pocket. How is Carson mentally in the pocket? In other words, okay, when the pocket starts getting a little tight, is he going to panic, or is he going to realize that, you know what? I've got this. These guys got this. Count on my team to do, and stay in the pocket and release the ball. Because now, like last year, when I was watching some of the later games and stuff, Carson, he was holding on to the ball, and then, it was like I said, he had that mentality, like, I've got to make this big play, and it was like he was overlooking the small, easy play and looking for that big, game-changing type play, and now with that came a lot of extra hits, and, and I would have to imagine after getting beat the heck up 50 different times in 11 or 12 games, that mentally you've got to be able to reset, and that's where I'm interested. Is he going to get what they call the happy feet? Is he going to get to where, instead of focusing on the facts of what he needs to focus on, is he going to be more watching that tackle, or watching the pocket starting to get a little closer, and is he going to start getting to where he wants to leave the pocket too early and stuff?
Oh, that whole seeing ghosts thing that a lot of people were talking about last year.
Yeah, and like I said, I think that we will know our answers to that probably by week 2. I would say that
we'll see it week 2.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. He's going to realize, if our offensive line does it as I think they will, he's going to realize, okay, these guys can buy me time against this defense. Let's go. You know what I mean? I think that, is that something that in 1 or 2 games you can relock and reload and be like, oh, okay. Or is that something that you still have to, pay attention to and keep in the back of your mind as you're playing and stuff? I'm curious to see how that works out.
Yep, me too. But yeah, you're right. Week 2, week 1, maybe not so much. Seattle's not exactly known for their pass rush, but week 2, that is a tough defense with the Rams. So we'll find out how happy feet, how worried he is, and seeing ghosts when they're not actually there. Much like the way the same Sam Darnold was with the Jets last year in that game. Guys, got lots of guys in here. The chat is moving. I can't get to everybody. Otherwise, I will not end this stream until tomorrow. So I will be skipping through to some of the better specific comments and questions and stuff in the chat. If there's something you want specifically for me to hit up, use the super chat link right here, right below the description of this video. It's a link right there. It says Super Chat Streamlabs. And I will definitely be getting to that as soon as it pops up on my screen. Fabio Lorenzo, what's up? Thanks for joining. Do you think we keep Strachan and Patman, or give a spot to Ashton Doolin? Low ceiling, high floor, plus special teams. I'd go with both of them because we got to find good receiver for next year. I'm not too worried about our receivers overall, because I really do believe that our receivers, as long as they can stay healthy, are going to be an incredible group. Now, I don't believe you're going to see some receiver on here that's going to have 1,400 yards and 12 touchdowns. I don't see it because I believe we have a good group total. You notice last year, Phillip Rivers, plenty of yards thrown, high completion percentage, but no one receiver really stood out, right? And that's because we got good talent. Not super top-notch, top 5 wide receiver talent. But we got a whole bunch of top 40 talent, in my opinion. And when you have that amount of players, like our top 4 guys, between Pascal and Pittman and Campbell and T.Y., all 4 of those guys, they can do stuff. As long as they're healthy, they are very, very good. And it means that you don't know who to take away when you're on defense, because any one of those guys can get open at any time and do something. So I'm not all that worried. Now, who do I think we keep? You are correct on the Doolin thing about special teams, because he is a big special teams provider. But the thing is, being that Hines probably won't be used quite as much this year because of the return of Marlon Mack and being healthy, he may be kept to use a lot of those special teams on the kick and punt returns, as opposed to what Doolin was using a lot of them as well last year. I do believe Strachan will make the team. Generally, they do. Even late round draft picks generally make the team. When I had my interview with him, I felt like, he was a very... he gave me a lot of good answers. If you want to go check that out, go check out my video about that interview with Michael Strachan. It is on my channel after the stream. Man, it's already 51 minutes. Go ahead, Loyalist.
One of the most important things to our young receivers this year is the league has said that they're going to allow them to keep this 16-man roster. What am I talking about here? If they don't make the 53, then you got the practice
squad. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that is going to play a big part because, we've seen it last year. Ballard works that practice squad like no other general manager I've ever seen. And I see that this year, the Michael Strachan's and I can see these guys hitting that practice squad and and that being an interchangeable piece. So you ask if we're going to keep Patman or Strawn, I honestly think that we're going to keep all 3 of them, but it's going to be sort of a rotating, game by game, which type of receiver is going to be more beneficial. Because like with that Michael Strawn, they were talking about how he's really surprised them with how good he is with the route tree and stuff already. They found out that he was more, more professional ready than what they were expecting coming from a small school. So like I said, you watch that practice squad this year, it's going to be a mover.
Yeah, it generally is anyhow, year after year. You see guys moving up and down depending upon what they need from game to game. Charger, what's up, Charger? Says, can't wait to see Eason in preseason. Me neither. Been waiting an entire year for it, over a year for it. So, yes, I think a lot of Colts fans are excited to see Jacob Eason, even Sam Ehlinger, in this preseason this year. Moving on, is there anything you want to talk about with Eason while I look for another question?
I would agree with you on Eason. Yeah, we all know that he's got the arm talent. Okay. I'm curious to see what his mobility is like in the preseason. I look at him and I don't understand, is he really that stiff-legged, to not be able to be as mobile and stuff? Or is this something that he can elevate, I guess, So I'm very interested to see how he works out. I'm also thinking it'd be really cool to see how some of these young pass rushers work during the preseason.
So Reese, KFN, what's going on? Ain't seen you in a minute, bud. Says, when you're bottom of a depth chart, you're really looking for potential. And Strachan's ceiling is crazy, in my opinion. And that is something. But at the same time, potential only gets you so far. We've had a few players that have had a lot of potential over the last few years, right? And they're not on the team anymore, right? Deion Kane comes to mind, right? Another receiver that didn't make it. He's on Kansas City now. Top of my head, I can't remember his name.
Fountain.
Yeah, that's Daurice Fountain, right? I can't believe I couldn't remember because I followed him so closely, but it happens.
Or even further back, Dante Moncrief.
Yeah, well, Moncrief made the team. I mean, he was a high draft pick, so yeah, but he's not on. I'm talking about guys that are like at the bottom of the depth chart, you know, and it happens, but we'll see. Company Eagles, what's up? I think the depth will show up this year. Oh, man, all across the board. The Colts have one of the deepest rosters in football all the way around, right, on the depth chart. When you're sitting there nitpicking, like on the defensive line, you're nitpicking your 8th, 9th, 10th guy on the defensive line. That says something, When you're looking at the wide receiver and going, okay, who's going to be the 6th guy? That says something, in my opinion. When you're looking at a running back chart and you're like, I already know who our 4th running back's going to be. Because there's no question, in my opinion, who the 4th running back is going to be. That says something. Chris Ballard has put together one heck of a roster for the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah. Last year we went in with such a weak depth in our offensive line. Now look at it this year. Every position has quality backups.
What's up, Jaguar ENT? Colts go undefeated. Now, that's a little much for me. All right, I like the optimism there, but I've got them going 11-6. I think that's their floor. Now, could they win 13 or 14 games? Yes, but that means that the answer to the pass rush situation has been answered, and they found some pass rush in the front 4 to go along with what, the guys that we already had. And Carson Wentz comes out looking strong and continues to be strong throughout the season. That's the only way we get 13 or 14 wins. Otherwise, I see about 11-6. That's about where I'm sitting at.
I'll take undefeated in the AFC South.
Right. At least now you're guaranteed playoffs if you go undefeated in the AFC South. That's right. Martin Hazel, what up? I do believe Carson can take us to the playoffs and beyond. I expect by the 3rd game he will drive down to score in our first position almost every game, a la Peyton. And T.Y. will be the number 1 receiver. I do not have T.Y. as being the number 1 receiver for the Colts. I've stated multiple times that if he can stay healthy, I think Paris Campbell will be the receiving yards leader. I think that T.Y. will be a complement in that situation. I think T.Y. could probably get 1,000 yards, but I'm guessing more around 800 to 900. And probably 3 or 4 touchdowns. Well, maybe 6 or 7. But the touchdown leader, by far, in my opinion, is Michael Pittman, just because he is that guy. He is that red zone threat, that big, strong possession receiver, kind of like Zach Pascal, but younger, bigger, stronger, faster.
Yeah.
Martin says T.Y. is going to have 1,207 touchdowns. If he does, great. I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm saying that the Colts just have a lot of talent around there that I believe that T.Y. is one of those guys that'll get double-teamed a lot. And you're going to end up with you're going to end up with like Paris Campbell one-on-one. And I don't think there's a guy out there that can cover Paris Campbell one-on-one when he's healthy. Because he's too fast for the bigger corners. And he's too tall for the small, fast corners. He's over 6 foot tall, right? And runs a 4.3 40. Yeah, that's tough to that's tough to handle.
Let's get Carson throwing 3,700 yards in 17 games, and let's get him throwing 35 touchdowns. That happens. Our running game stays solid. We'll go real deep.
Well, I mean, he had what, 37 or 33-7 in 11 games his rookie year. And that's not bad before he got hurt. So, and last year was the first year, I believe. Last year was the first year he threw over 7 interceptions in a season. To me, that spells more team problem than quarterback problem. Okay, Mark. Okay, here we go. Got to the point where I was talking about the Braden Smith. Martin says yes. Brian says yes. Reese says him and Glowinski. Well, and I just skipped through a whole bunch of people. Marlon Mack. I got a Marlon Mack film room. I could. The only problem is he only played 1 game last year, and not even a full game before he tore his Achilles. Who knew? Yeah, Martin says, who knew that Braden Smith would be a right tackle? Until we didn't even know that until he was given a chance, and that's true. I mean, that's a shakeup. Guards don't get drafted, get swung out to tackle, and then play as well as Braden Smith has. Very few do that. There's another guard out there that plays tackle pretty good that used to play for the Colts, and he's a starter over on the Raiders. And Denzel Good, that 7th round diamond draft pick of Ryan Grigson. It's one of his best ever draft picks, in my opinion. And that's saying something. And he's a 7th round pick. No one knew who Denzel Good was out of Mars Hill. What? And the only reason he's not with the Colts is the former offensive line coach, supposedly told Denzel Good that he would never take a snap for him ever again because when Denzel's brother was murdered, he took time off, which as people, you and me, we should know, if something like that happens, give the guy all the time he needs. But apparently the offensive lineman at the time, the offensive line coach at the time took offense to that and said the team should have been first and he should have been there for games, and that's why he didn't want him with the Colts anymore. And then
that's why he's not with us anymore either.
Yeah, he was let go at the end of the year. He went up and asked to be let go, and they let him go. Said, very well, I got a fire truck coming by. I don't know if you guys can hear it or not. Reese says Xavier Rhodes is also another film room I'd 100% watch. Now, I've got my Xavier Rhodes film room from last year when he was picked up, but I could do one. I could do a Xavier Rhodes from this past year, the 2020 season. That's not bad. Invest back in your dream, Lawrence. It will pay, believe me. I just bit down on AC, set me back almost $600, but the house has no central air room. Oof. Yeah, room is an office now, so yeah, I got you. Joe says that Wentz just needs to limit throwing across his body so much. I think there's a few things that he needs to work on, personally. But he will be doing that, baby. Terrence Gibbons, 33, Colts Law, baby. What's up? Stephen Hayes. What if Mac overperforms? What's overperforming? Does Marlon Mack, is it, how much does Marlon Mack, what if, let's say he looks as good as week 1 last year when he was averaging 8 yards a carry, catching the football in the backfield, just busting out loose out, before he got injured. If he's looking like that, how much will he cut into Jonathan Taylor's snaps?
I still have to believe that, the Colts, first off, he's coming back from Achilles. Let's let him get into it. But to sit there and say at the end of the year, if he's producing at that level and stuff, I do think that creates an interesting situation. but I don't see JT getting his toes cut into too much, because I see them using the. Now, when I say cut into, I mean, yes, he's going to lose compared to last year without Marlon Mack. But if you go back a couple years when you've seen Mack, and then you sat there and watched Wilkins and Hines all split the carries real equally, you know what I mean? I really see a lot of that happening again this year. I don't think that JT is going to have as many carries, but I do think that he's still going to get his yards and stuff, because I think that he's going to be able now, he's got that first 8 weeks that he didn't do so well last year out of the way. Like I said, I see everybody getting their share of carries.
I think it could be a situation where it's find a hot hand, feed a hot hand, right? You might have Jonathan Taylor get some carries on the first drive, and if he does well, he'll continue getting them. If he doesn't do well, if he's only getting 1, 2, or 3 yards per carry at the time, maybe Mack comes in, and then if he's blowing up and doing well, he stays. If he doesn't, Hines comes in. And if he, that type of situation, we've seen that happen a lot last year and the year before. And I think that the Colts offensive game plan, I think it works well doing it that way rather than just trying to force feed one guy. Find that whoever has the hot hand that game and stick with them.
Yeah, and my only thing there is, JT is a type of running back. The more carries he gets, the better. The better role. And you know how Reich always talks about the quarterback's got to get the rhythm. Well, I feel like JT is a rhythm running back. I feel like, he gets in there and he gets, say he gets 3 to 6 carries in the first quarter. Okay. And just keep plugging at it. And then you sprinkle in your Marlon Mack and your Nyheim Hines, where, like I said, their dynamic playmaking ability is able to just really explode off the page.
Welcome, Mick the Dog. Appreciate you being here. Stephen Hayes says that we're still going to need a lot from Ty. I believe that. I mean, Ty isn't just a producer, but he's also that decoy, right? I mean, you hate to say just a decoy, but a decoy is a decoy. Either way, if you got 2 guys covering T.Y. Hilton, that means you got other guys out there that are single covered. They should be able to beat their guy. That's a huge deal, and that's why T.Y. could be huge. Even if he's not getting the numbers, if the other receivers are, it's because T.Y.'s doing his job and drawing attention away from him. Stephen Hayes says, got us winning 12 this year. I'm down with that. 12 will get us in the playoffs. Anthony Hurt, what's up? Got 44 in the chat. Let's go. What up, McChicken? He's a big fan of Zach Pascal. Says Zach Pascal #1. I don't know if he'll be our #1 receiver, but I'll tell you what, Zach Pascal is a solid all-around receiver. Good, big-bodied, good possession hand, good in critical moments, shows that he can show up at clutch time and can block like nobody's business in the run game, and you can't say that a lot about a lot of wide receivers out there. Marquise Beverly. Hey, Beverly! My sister's first name is Beverly, so I just wanted to shout that out. She says, Colts fan for life. Good conversation. I'm glad you're here. Don't forget to smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you're not subscribed. Just convert 3rd downs and we'll be fine, Stephen Hayes says. And that's the truth. It's all about, moving the sticks, moving those chains, man. And that's why big plays will happen, because the Colts will do a bunch of the small things. Run the football, get 3-4 yards a carry, throw it short. Frank Reich is all about using that quick passing game, getting high completion passes, and moving the sticks. Less turnovers doing that as well. And that's going to help Carson Wentz out. Any thoughts on that?
No, I was just sitting here thinking, is there anything to look at? Not really. I mean, like you said, getting them first downs and just getting that momentum.
Yep. La'el Collins played guard his rookie season and moved to tackle, but to be fair, yeah, he was a tackle in college, McChicken. He was a tackle in college. He was drafted to be a tackle in the NFL. He played guard because the Cowboys had 2 good tackles already, right? You see tackles being moved to guard in the NFL all the time, but you just don't see guards being moved to tackles very often. No, I don't. Stephen Hayes, I don't see Marlon Mack beating Taylor out of the number 1 spot. But I do see Marlon Mack being one of those guys, in my opinion, that can really establish himself, re-establish himself, let's say it that way. Because, let's face it, he had over 1,100 yards rushing just 2 years ago, right? And he was supposed to be a big-time situation last season until he busted his Achilles. We all wanted to see the Marlon Mack, Jonathan Taylor show last year. We didn't get to see it. We're all praying we get to see it this year.
Yeah, and I think this year the 1A, 1B thing really holds a lot more value to it this year.
Yes. Guys, it's been an hour and 10 minutes. Still got plenty of y'all in here. I'm going to stick around for just a little bit longer. Please smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, tag that notification bell so that you are notified next time I go live. Don't forget, please, if you want to use the super chat, please use the link down here just below the video that you're watching. It'll send you to my site. Your super chat still comes up right over here on the other side of Loyalist, and I will get to it as soon as it pops up. And don't forget to check out my merch shop. A lot of really cool stuff in there in the description of the video. And my Patreon, only $5 a month. That's the cost of what? 2 liters of drink, man? Come on, man. 2 liters a month? And you get everything that I do, plus the stuff that I put up for Patreon only? I think that's fair. And you'd be doing me a huge favor.
Got the Discord in there so we can all have nice little conversations?
Absolutely. McChicken says it would probably be smarter if Mac left and got a big contract. Well, I mean, he's got to prove that he's bouncing back from that Achilles injury this year, right? That's the thing. Matthew Stansberry says, what up? Well, what up? Back at you, bud. Let me see. Anthony Hurt says we need JT to be healthy late in the season. That's why it's so great to have a good depth. That's why it's so great to interchange these running backs all the time. Keep them healthy throughout a game. Keep them healthy throughout the season. That way, when it comes to playoff time, your running backs are fresh, like it's still week 5 or something. You know, that's why having a great running back stable is so important. Terrence Cooper, that former offensive line coach you was talking about who was fired over Denzel Good. Yes, Dave Guglielmo, the Googe. Yep, that was it. And I have to say it's, you know, I air quoted that whole situation because it was never officially confirmed, but that was a story of Denzel Good that went down, and the Colts never confirmed it, but it kind of confirmed it when they were like, we let you go at the end of the season.
I would like to mention about these running backs, do not fall asleep on Jackson from Duke. I'm telling you right now, he's going to give that number 4 running back spot a battle.
Mm-hmm. Mick the Dog drove me insane at the first as a Browns fan when Hurt took carries off Chubb. With Hunt, sorry. But over a season it pays big for both guys. Extend them. I can see this with Mack and Taylor. I mean, Mack, he's back on a $2.5 million year season. That's it. That's so cheap. It's not funny for a guy of Mack's talent. If he has a big season this year, and there's a chance he might get an extension contract from another team and big money. You know, it is quite. But he's got to prove himself after an Achilles tear. If he does have a big season, I don't see him coming back because I just don't see the Colts paying big money for running backs. I really don't. I don't even think if Jonathan Taylor becomes a perennial 1,300-yard running back rushing, I'm not sure Jonathan Taylor gets extended. That's for a different stream, though. And there's a reason for it. Not that I wouldn't want him extended. I just think he probably costs a little too much money for the Colts' taste. Bennies are benefits, is what Max says after Matthew. Is that slang for currency? No, benefits. Guys, I think that we have hit just about that time because I have been sitting here chilling. I do appreciate everybody that was in the stream, but it's been an hour and 15 minutes, and I generally don't want to keep Loyalists longer than an hour. I generally try to keep these streams about an hour. We still got 38 people in here. Thank you so much. We would not be here if it wasn't for you guys. Huge hats off to you guys. Let's see if I can't pull this off. Hats off. You make doing these streams worthy of me doing them. I mean, you're the reason why I do them, you know. So thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, I will be, I seen enough out there about Braden Smith. I will push one sometime, probably tomorrow. Wednesday, I'm doing either a recording or a live stream. If it's a live stream, it'll be around 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. That's late, I know that. But Dougley Do Wrong, the guy who covers the Miami Dolphins, he's going to be joining me. And we're going to be discussing the Miami Dolphins and their offseason and the outlook for them. Because guess what? We play them this year, you know, early in the season. I want to know a little bit about it. I know some being an outsider and looking outside in, but I want to see someone who covers the Dolphins. And I thought that would be great content for you guys. If it's a live stream, like I said, it'd probably be around 9:30. If it's not a live stream, it'll be uploaded on Thursday. And until next time, I'm Lawrence Owen. That's Loyalist. This is Colts Law. And as usual, have a good one.
Just because a player's not a household name doesn't mean we can't make him a household name.